All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. KB Channel of Stuff, back with some more Dice basketball. That's right, it's the NBA playoffs. We are in the Western Conference. The Spurs lead the Timberwolves 3-2, and we're about to simulate Game 6, which will be happening Friday night in real life. But we're going to go ahead and simulate that game right now to see if the Spurs go on and win in 6 games, or if the Timberwolves can take it to 7 games. Either way, enough of the waiting. Let's go. All right, and we are back. So this is our official Microsoft Excel spreadsheet scoreboard, and then this pan right over here. Well, bam, that's our official dice rolling app that we will be using to, well, simulate the dice rolling. So for NBA basketball, 1 roll of 2 dice equals 3 minutes of game time. So whatever the team rolls, that's how many points they get. But a bonus, so if they roll a double, they get a bonus roll of 1 extra dice to be added onto their score. So without further ado, let's get this thing tipped off. All right, here we go. San Antonio, Minnesota. Let's tip this thing off. All right, the Spurs are the visiting team, so they will roll first. All right, and they're starting off with a double. That's 6. They get a bonus roll of 1 extra. 6 more for 12. And the Timberwolves get 3. All right, just like that, 3 minutes into the game, the Spurs are up 12-3. Here we go, back to the Spurs. They get 5, and the Timberwolves, that's a huge double. That's 12. They get a bonus roll of 1 extra roll. 5 more for 17. Just like that, the Timberwolves flip the momentum. They go up 20-17 halfway through the first. Here we go, back to the Spurs. They get a double. That's 4. They get a bonus roll of 1 more. 2 more for 6. And the Timberwolves get 9. All right, 3 minutes left to go in the first, and the Timberwolves are up 29-23. Right, last roll for both teams here in the first quarter. The Spurs get 7. The Timberwolves get 10. All right, into the first quarter, the Timberwolves are up 39-30. All right, starting off the second quarter, the Spurs, they get 11. That's a good one. And the Timberwolves get 8. Right, 9 minutes left to go here in the second quarter. The Timberwolves are up 47-41. Right, back to the Spurs we go. They get 6, and then the Timberwolves, they get 5. Right, halfway through the second quarter, the Timberwolves are up 52-47. There we go. Before we roll for the Spurs, I forgot to mention, so if with 3 minutes left in the game, if the game was within 5 points either direction, we will slow it down to possession by possession to further enhance the suspense. So without further ado, the Spurs roll 6 and the Timberwolves get 5. All right, 3 minutes left to go in the second quarter. Both teams have cooled off substantially, but the Timberwolves still have a 4-point lead. Right, here we go. Last roll of the second quarter for the Spurs. They get 3, and the Timberwolves get 9. All right, halftime in Game 6, and the Timberwolves find themselves up 66-56. All right, time to tip off the second half. Let's go. All right, start of the third quarter for the Spurs. They get 7, and the Timberwolves, they get 10. All right, 9 minutes left to go in the third quarter. The Timberwolves are up 76-63. Right, back to the Spurs we go. They get 7, and the Timberwolves get 5. All right, halfway through the third quarter, Minnesota up 81-70. Right, here we go, back to the Spurs. They get a double. That's 6. They get a bonus roll of 1 more. 2 more for a total of 8. And the Timberwolves get 4. All right, the Minnesota Timberwolves still up by 7 with 3 minutes left to go in the third. The final roll of the third quarter for both teams, and the Spurs get 4 and the Timberwolves get 9. All right, 1 quarter left here in Game 6. Minnesota up 94-82, trying to send this to 7 games. All right, start of the fourth quarter for the Spurs, and they get 11, and the Timberwolves get 5. All right, 9 minutes left to go, and the Timberwolves are up 99-93. All right, next roll for the Spurs. They get 7, and the Timberwolves get 9. All right, Minnesota desperately trying to hold on. They lead 108-100. 6 minutes left to go in the game. We go next roll for the Spurs. They get 5, and the Timberwolves get 7. All right, 3 minutes left to go in the game. The Spurs are down by 10. This will be a last gasp effort for them. All right, last roll for the Spurs. They get 9, and the Timberwolves get 7. All right, and that's it. The game is over. The Minnesota Timberwolves hold off the San Antonio Spurs 122-114. We will be going to a Game 7. The winner will face the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. All right, thank you everyone for watching. The Timberwolves hold off the Spurs 122-114 to force a Game 7. All right, thank you everyone for watching. We will see you all again in the next video.